Hello, this is the channeler speaking, who has the initials AS. I haven't physically interacted with Pleiadians in this life, but I have telepathically talked to them a lot. I have mostly talked to medium to relatively high consciousness Pleiadians, and not so much to very high consciousness, non-physical Pleiadians. Here are some conversations and interactions I've had with Pleiadians. I hope you will find this amusing or interesting. 1. It's really nourishing and healing to interact with someone who reads all the thoughts that pop into your mind, if you give them permission, otherwise they won't, and who never reacts with judgment or hostility towards any of your thoughts. 2. White, they're not going to judge you. It does help if you're not ashamed or embarrassed about your own thoughts and feelings. What might very well happen one day is that you'll stand in front of some galactic and you'll feel lust for them, or initially you'll feel a bit scared or weirded out by their appearance, and most likely the galactic will just read your body language and understand what you're feeling. They won't judge you, but it does help to have a certain shamelessness with regards to your own thoughts and feelings. You can choose and control your actions, after all, but you can't really choose what arises in you, other than through long-term spiritual work. 3. If you have reliable telepathic contact with a Pleiadian, you can ask for an energetic hug, where they bring their energy body over to Earth and give you a hug with their energy body. Most people won't be able to feel that, but very energy-sensitive people might be able to. Obviously an energetic hug doesn't quite feel the same as a physical hug, but it's still nice, and I find the more I grow spiritually, the more tangible and physical the Pleiadians feel when they move over their energy body and come hug me. Although they often point out that they didn't become more tangible, I just became more sensitive. Sometimes Pleiadians insist that I give myself credit for my progress. 4. Energy bodies can be stretched or molded at will, and Pleiadians are great at working with energy. I've had a smaller than myself Pleiadian stretch her energy body so that she could be the big spoon. I've had a Pleiadian grow another set of arms in her energy body so that she could put 2 sets of arms around me. And I've also had a Pleiadian literally reach into my chest and touch my heart with her energy body, which initially triggered a fear response in me but then felt nice. 5. It may be different for the very high consciousness Pleiadians, but the medium consciousness Pleiadians experience emotions just as we do. I've seen them be sad, cry, feel righteous anger when seeing injustice, etc. They just don't resist it, and so the emotions pass through them very quickly and they suffer no long-term ill effects. One time, a Pleiadian said she was actually going to sleep to process some emotions, which was pretty abnormal for her. Normally she just meditates or trances or astral travels for a few hours without actually sleeping, and that's all the rest she needs. 6. A day is the time it takes for Earth to rotate on its axis. That specific amount of time, 24 hours, is obviously very significant on Earth, but 24 hours is a pretty arbitrary amount of time for beings who aren't native to Earth. Still, it's easy enough for them to convert their time units to our time. 7. Pleiadian days last what we would think of as a bit over 26 hours, so yes, our days in fact are too short. However, there are different Pleiadian planets with different day-night cycles, so a Pleiadian day 26 hours may not actually correspond to a light and a dark period on a given Pleiadian world. Often Pleiadians will rest whenever it's dark outside, but that means they don't necessarily rest exactly once per day, depending on the planet. Pleiadians instead talk about a cycle, which is 1 active plus 1 rest period for the individual Pleiadian. Families and colleagues often intentionally adopt the same cycle, and then they might say next cycle let's do that together, which means, after our next rest period, let's do that together. 8. Pleiadians have hologram artists, light sculptures and what we would think of as holodeck games. 9. One time I was able to get an exceptionally clear vision of what a certain Pleiadian woman looked like, one whom I haven't channeled. She looked like a blonde, blue-eyed, pretty Scandinavian woman. What particularly struck me though was that she had an innocent look on her face, the kind that I'm only used to seeing on the faces of children here on Earth. Now to be clear, this woman was older, wiser, smarter, more powerful, more sexually experienced and more well-traveled than I was. She also had gently called out some of my nonsense in past interactions, so she wasn't naive or a pushover. And yet, she had an innocent look on her face. I found that striking. 10. Often when I ask Pleiadians how they're able to be a certain way, they simply reply that they haven't been hurt or damaged by Earth life, and the way they are is just the natural way that some humans are when they're undamaged and relatively unencumbered. 11. Pleiadians, being mind readers and mind sharers, are very good at synchronizing movements with each other. 10 Random Pleiadians can start dancing in perfect or near perfect unison almost immediately if they wish. This also has obvious military benefits. 12. A Pleiadian remarked that on Earth, it seems more standard to first decide that you like someone, and then kiss them. Whereas in her culture, kissing was often used as a way to evaluate if you want to have a romantic or sexual relationship with someone. So in her culture you kiss someone to decide if you like them, rather than kissing them after you decide you like them. I know that kissing to decide if you like someone sometimes happens on Earth as well, but it's more common with Pleiadians apparently. Of course, it helps that Pleiadian women feel safe to kiss someone and then to still decide and gently communicate not interested. Also, a person's energy plays a larger part in attraction for Pleiadians than for average Earth humans. 13. Pleiadians think that an umbrella term like intelligence or level of consciousness is pretty meaningless, because there are many kinds of intelligences, and people can have greater or lesser development in certain aspects of their consciousness. Some people can achieve deep states of meditation, some people are really good at self-reflection, etc. 14. That said, one Pleiadian estimated that average Pleiadian IQ is somewhere around 135, in Earth terms. That means that an average Pleiadian is about as intelligent as a top 1% Earth human. So average Pleiadians are about as smart as really smart Earth humans. 15. From their perspective that means that when they talk to Earth humans, on average they're talking to someone with 35 IQ less than themselves. If you try talking to someone with 35 less IQ than yourself, you'll see how that experience is. And of course someone like Ashta has far higher than average Pleiadian IQ, which means that from his perspective he's talking to someone with, I don't know, maybe 80 IQ less than himself. Which is a challenge. Now Pleiadians don't think in terms of IQ or primarily care about raw intelligence, but still.